Guys, and welcome to episode 78 of the Beat Your Backlog podcast, a podcast discussing the things gamers like to put off, get to another day, and oh yes, will definitely beat later, their backlog. I'm your host Adam, and today I am joined by the biggest Pokemon fan I know, all the way from the Beat Your Backlog Discord, and from my work actually. It's is it Laimiba or Laimia?
It's Laimiba.
Laimiba, okay. AKA Barbara. Barbara, how on earth are you doing?
Hello, Adam, and you guys out there. Thank you for having me. I'm always happy to talk about Pokemon, which is like one of my favorite things ever. So thank you for asking me to join you today.
You're welcome, and that we just spoke briefly then, but that's the reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast because you are the biggest Pokemon fan I know, and as we were playing Pokemon Legends EA, like I love like your kind of input on the story, so I was like, oh, it would be really great to talk to you because I completely forgot the story of Pokemon X and Y, so I'm kind of like you can help me fill in and be my Pokemon expert on the podcast.
I would be happy to.
Good. Then before we get into the conversation, a little bit of like about Pokemon Legends ZA or Z. How do you say it? Do you say ZA or ZA or ZA or Z to A?
I think they say CA, but actually it would be ZA, I think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
somehow everyone always says C.
yeah, it's the Americans. I think I got into an argument with a guy on TikTok because he said, "Oh, it's pronounced Z, not Z," and I was like, "Yeah, but I'm British, so you would say
Yeah,
you
for,
say Z."
for, for what it's worth, I agree with you.
Thank you, thank you.
But
We're on the right side of history, I hope.
yes, for once.
Yes.
I'm
Then
sorry, that's a little Austrian
that's a
joke here.
very Austrian joke, yeah. Yeah. So the game released quite recently on Switch and Switch 2 on October 16th, 2026, and it is currently sitting at a 77 on Metacritic. We'll see, I guess, by the end of this podcast where we feel like it should sit on the ratings. I already wrote my review and published it, so if you've already seen that, spoilers, you already know what it is. But yeah, Barbara, let's talk a little bit about you first before we dive into the game. What is your Pokemon story like? Because I mean, compared to me, I guess, like an old man, you came to
Yep.
Pokemon a bit later. You didn't start with the original games, right?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I mean, I do have this memory of playing Pokemon on my friend's Game Boy when I was in elementary school. I
Yeah.
think it was Silver, Gold, looking back on what I did there, but to be honest, I didn't know it was Pokemon. All I did was hatching eggs, just driving around the bicycle all the time, and never did anything really fun. But the way I would say my Pokemon story really started was actually quite late. My first game was Soul Silver, which I tried looking up when it came out this like today in preparation because I honestly don't remember how old I was, but it was like 2010, I think,
Hmm.
which is not as long ago as I thought, but still shocking.
Yeah,
And yeah, it
15
was
years
my
ago. Like, yeah.
yes, exactly. And that was my first game. I bought it for myself, and I still vividly remember the moment I played it for the first time, which is kind of magical, I guess. But I still remember like sitting in my garden behind the house on we had some like stone stairs there, and I was sitting there because it was like a quiet place where no one else was. And I started it up, and then the intro with Professor Oak came, and I just kind of knew my life was gonna change forever,
Mhm.
which is maybe a bit drastic to say, but given how much I love this game and how big of a part of my life this is, it really is this kind of magical moment, and I really liked it. I remember it,
Yeah, because
and
you.
ever since then,
Oh, sorry.
sorry,
Go ahead.
I was just saying, ever since then, I played pretty much all the Pokemon games that came
Hmm.
out.
Yeah, because beforehand, did you really play video games like as kind of like regularly as you do now?
Not, no, not really, because I never really had a console growing up. Isn't quite true because I think I bought my first Nintendo when I was what 2000 like 12.
Hmm.
But the thing was, I always wanted to have like a Nintendo for every Christmas, and my parents never bought it because they thought it was a bad idea. Which is funny looking how I work in games now.
Yeah.
But I saved up for it and bought it myself. And I think before Pokemon, I had like one very bad horse game, which gave me anger issues in hindsight because it was very bad. And then I think the first proper game I really bought was probably Pokemon Soul Silver.
Nice. And what like drew you
So
to what was it because you'd played Pokemon before on your friend's Game Boy and you kind of recognized it, or was it something that you were like, okay, no, this is like a new Pokemon game, I want to play it because it's the new one that's releasing.
like as I said, I know now that I played Pokemon on my friend's Game Boy, but I
Hmm.
didn't back then.
Okay, that's cool.
And
So you
I
just sort
think
of
what drew me to
stumbled
it, I
upon it.
remember having like a, yeah, yes, that's but what I do remember is I had this cutout of a toy magazine pinned to my radiator with a magnet where I cut out Pokemon Platinum actually because I thought it looked cool. And then I went to the toy store, and then there I saw Soul Silver and Heart Gold, and I thought that Lugia looked very cool. Back then, I actually thought Hoa was pretty ugly, where I feel bad in hindsight because it's actually really gorgeous. But back then, I was like, oh no, I don't like the chicken, because I'm gonna get the cool white dragon instead. And it was also the box, like the special box with the Pokemon and everything, was very shiny. So I guess I just thought it was cool, and I was right. So good job, past me.
Yeah, that's. I also remember that release because I think I must have. Well, if it was 2010, I'd have been. How old will I have been? 15 years ago. 20? No, that can't be true. Yeah, 20. Yeah, because it must have been when I was at university and or just before leaving college, maybe. And yeah, it must be leaving college. And back then, it was kind of that phase where Pokemon wasn't cool to like Pokemon. Like now, it's everyone likes Pokemon and is collecting the cards or playing the games or whatever. But there was a period, I would say, between like maybe 2001 to 2000 and don't know 12 maybe, that like it wasn't like a cool thing to like Pokemon as a 20-year-old. Um, and I remember like going out and buying it and being like, oh my god, this is like so nostalgic. Even back then, it felt nostalgic because I bought Heart Gold and just those. It was the last. I guess it was the last game that had the cardboard box because all of the Game Boy games had cardboard boxes, and then they stopped doing them for the DS, obviously. But then this one, because of the Pokewalk, had the cardboard, and I was like, oh, it looks so nice. It's so like nostalgic feeling, and yeah, I think it's still Heart Gold's still my favorite Pokemon game. So I think for you, it was like the perfect era to get into Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably also still my favorite too, either Heart Gold Soul Silver or actually Black and White,
Hmm.
which apparently came out like a year after Soul Silver. I don't know if Google was right about that because I also looked it up before because that was like my first expansion that I naturally experienced because it's what came after Soul Silver.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just those two games still my favorite mainline Pokemon game. Overall, it's probably Mystery Dungeons.
Yeah, so this is what I wanted to get onto because
Yeah.
I kind of stuck with the mainline games, but you peeled off and played most of the spin offs, right?
Yeah, like I pretty much played everything.
Yeah.
I did not play all the Pokemon Rangers because some of them came out before I started getting into it, and I also didn't play the original Pokemon Snap, but I played this weird Pokemon game where you basically type the names of the Pokemon to learn how to use a
Ah, yeah, the
like
keyboard.
keyboard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, so I was deep in the trenches. Probably
Wow.
still am. Don't know if I would buy that again, but
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a
it
collector's item if you do, or if you still have it.
of course I have all my Pokemon stuff
Uh,
still. I also have the original Soul Silver box still and everything.
I'm jealous. Because I went through a phase of after university when I kind of left and had no money. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sell
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like I'm too old for it now. And then yeah, you know, 12, 15
I'm
years later, I'm like, oh, I should not have sold all of that stuff.
kind of glad that I just never cared about that
Yeah.
because I just like the first summer I played Pokemon, I did nothing else, and that was like my theme for summer for the next years.
Mm.
Even when I was like 17 something, I was like, nah, I don't care. I like this. It makes me happy. So I'm glad that I never threw anything out. I would never do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I've learnt my lesson now. Like I buy every Pokemon game I play physically, mostly because I want to like have those games to be able to pass down to my daughter. Like if she ever gets into
yeah,
games and be like, all right, here they all are. Because now going back and trying to rebuy stuff and like the prices it costs, like, and I think we talked about, I bought Pokemon White too, right? Because I never played that one, and I got that for like a decent price, but it was so expensive, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
sold this. Or Pokemon White. I remember selling it for like €30 and thinking, I just
Oh boy.
completely fleeced the person that bought it off me. Why would anyone want to pay €30 for a Pokemon game? And then I ended up buying it again for triple that a few years later.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Like, I usually buy all the games twice at this point, or I had this period until Ultra Sun and Moon there. I didn't buy it
Mm,
twice because it was basically the same game third time. But I'm still trying to get a hard gold again
hmm.
because that's kind of missing in my 2D era collection. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's
but yeah,
an expensive one, I guess, to pick up.
yeah, that's really. It took me forever to find Explorers of Sky
Mm,
to a affordable price. I still think I paid like €100 for it. But Explorers of Sky Darkness Time is like my favorite Pokemon game ever. I think it's just amazing soundtrack, heart-wrenching story, and it's just great. I think it's the game I played the most.
yeah, that's what I wanted to
Which
ask
is,
you. Actually, is like
yeah.
what draws you so much to the mystery dungeon? Because I remember trying mystery dungeon and being like, oh, there's no battles here. Like what I never really quite got into it. But what drew you towards that
I
series?
think I think it was the story really. I mean, I also remember how I bought that. I like went to one of those, not like Libro, that actually
Mm,
is a paper store, but they always also sell games for some reason. So I
yeah.
went there and I just was looking for games to play, and it was like, oh, that's a Pokemon game I don't know.
Hmm.
And then I started playing it, and I think it's really just the story. For me, it's probably the best story a Pokemon game has. It's very sad. I recently played Sky, which is like it's like the third version of those two, which is kind of bit enhanced. And I know exactly how this game ends by now
Hmm.
because I played it like 7 times and I still was crying.
Hmm.
Like, I know what is happening, but the ending is so well made with just the music and the dialogue and how they frame it. It's very, that's what draws me to it, really.
Nice.
And it's also a very long game.
Mm.
It has like a whole second part, which I didn't realize the first 3 times I played it because I have to play a bit of post game. I was like, I want to play it immediately again. So it was a nice surprise though when I didn't then end up playing it. I was like, what do you mean? There's a whole other story that's amazing.
Yeah, and this is exactly why I wanted you on the podcast because, like I said, you're the only person I know that is like so into Pokemon. Like sometimes I feel a bit of like a or what's it called, where you have like imposter syndrome whenever I talk about Pokemon, because I like the mainline games. Like I play them, I usually beat the main story, and then I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. And yeah, there are people that they as we've seen, not naming any names in the Discord, CLA, but beat the main story in like 3 or 4 days, and then are just grinding into the post game for hours and hours and shiny hunting. And I'm like, I've never ever been that type of Pokemon player, so it's nice to have someone that is kind of like a Pokemon sort of. Not historian, but is well versed on all of the games to talk about Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not a shiny hunter either. Well, probably unpopular. I don't get the appeal, but and also not competitive battling. I had a brief stint with that in X and Y, funnily enough. But
Hmm.
yeah, when it comes to story and everything else in the games, I get very obsessed. I think I have 400 hours in Soul Silver overall.
Wow. Cool. Good. Then let's get into the story of Pokemon Legends ZA. But before we do, I would like to remind everyone that is listening, or who is listening, I should say, that this podcast is supported by Patreon. If you would like to support the podcast and get all of my content 24 hours early, plus the vault of Beat Your Bonus episodes, that are just exclusive for Patreon, please head over to patreon.com/beat your backlog and support at the $2 and $5 tier. And thank you as always to my Patreon supporters. And as I said, yeah, I do want to start with the story. So the way the podcast is going to work is we're going to talk about the game spoiler free. To start off with, like give our overall kind of opinion on the game, maybe what we liked, what we didn't like, talk a little bit about the new battle system, and then after a very clear break, we will say, okay, this point on is spoiler territory, so then we will go into story spoilers. So if you haven't finished the game yet, or you haven't started the game yet, then there will be a point where we'll say, okay, stop listening, we're going to talk full spoilers, so just so everyone is aware. You actually picked the game up on release date, and you got yourself a Nintendo Switch 2 for it, right?
Yeah, that's actually a pattern in my acquisition of Nintendo products. That I got my 3DS also just so I can play Pokemon. And my Switch, I didn't buy the original Switch for a while. Only when then they released Sword and Shield with the special edition, I bought it. I might have bought as well just because I wanted it with the Pokemon design.
Mm-hmm.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
But, well, a problem I gladly have because it's very entertaining.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
yeah, the only game I play on Switch 2 is Pokemon
yeah.
for now.
So I guess maybe then, because I was going to ask you your impressions on the Switch 2 before we get into things like, do you feel a difference between that and because you had the OLED one before, right? And the
Yeah.
light, yeah.
There is the main thing I noticed actually is that the Switch 2 might be a little bit too big for my preference because I usually play in the handheld mode
Mm-hmm.
and it starts to at the beginning when I wasn't used to it, it started to hurt a bit after a while because my hands are too small, which I think for kids must be a bit annoying maybe or
Mm.
frustrating because it's naturally bigger than the Switch 2 the first Switch was, even the OLED one. So that's something I noticed.
Yeah, it's crazy
But
because I went back
yeah.
and played Arceus on my Switch Lite, and I went back and played a little bit to like kind of remind myself how I felt about that game, and it felt so weird playing the Switch Lite. It feels like like a diary. Like it's so small and light compared to the Switch 2. But I like the bigger screen. Like I guess I have the big enough hands that yeah, I like the screen. But to be fair, I do mostly play docked, so
Yeah.
I've not noticed it as much.
To be fair, I did get used to it. It was just the first day,
Hmm.
so it's not like I can't use this ever again.
Yeah.
It's just something I was like, huh, that's interesting. I wonder how kids deal with that.
Mm. Mm.
So, but other than that, I also like the big screen. I
Nice.
because I like playing on the train, for example.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I had a similar experience with going back to the Switch Lite because I had some older games on there and I played. I was like, how did I play through full games on this? It's so small.
I know, and it's funny because the Switch Lite was my like preferred way to play on the Switch, like because I have an original Switch as well, and but I always was like, no, I want the Lite because I like being able to just lay on the sofa and play. But now I'm like, yeah, the same. I'm like, how did I play games on this? It's so small.
Yeah, it's funny that you say you want to play it laying on the sofa because I had the opposite. Where I was like, I want to play Pokemon, specifically Pokemon on the TV, so I need to get the OLED one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had that feeling with Sword and Shield when because it was the first like in quotations console Pokemon game, and then was like a bit underwhelmed by it. So I was like, I'm just gonna play it handheld anyway. I don't know. Pokemon to me does actually apart from Legends ZA, that like it is a handheld game. Actually, no. I also played Scarlet on completely on the TV, so I'm talking rubbish. Yeah. Anyway, talking about potentially rubbish or potentially not rubbish, what are your sort of overview thoughts of the story? So maybe just a little bit of context to the story of Pokemon ZA. So it is set in Lumio City, which is the central city of the Kalos region, which is from Gen 6 of the
Yeah, it's
Pokemon games.
6. Yeah, it was the one after Black and White, so
Yeah,
it's 6.
yeah. So X and Y, I think that was the first game on the 3DS. Um, and yeah, you basically have arrived in the city. For some reason, you don't really know why you have arrived there, but you have arrived. And as you get off the train, you meet this girl or boy. I don't know what the boy's called, but the girl's called Tawny, who is trying to make an advert with her Rotom phone for this hotel that she kind of runs or lives in, called Hotel Z. And as you are making this video, your rucksack or your suitcase gets stolen by a Pancham. You and Tawny chase after the Pancham, find the trainers. The trainers challenge you to a battle. Tawny gives you one of her Pokemon, and you can choose between Totodile, Tepig, and Chikorita. Those are the three starters. Then you basically fight beat the Pancham, get whisked into this story about this hotel, about the city of Luminos, and about this thing called the ZA Royale. Do you want to explain what the ZA Royale is, Barbara?
Sure. So basically, it's a kind of, I can guess you can call it a battle tournament that happens in this city where every night certain areas of the city get assigned to be a battle area where if you go in there, people, whoever sees you will challenge you to a battle, very Pokemon style. And by beating opponents, you can get points, and by collecting enough points, you can then challenge kind of boss trainers that get assigned to you and like climb the ranks in this CA. And in the story, they say if you make it to A, you get a wish that they will fulfill to their best of their abilities. And also, you can like sneak up to the opponents and surprise attack them, and it's actually very fun.
Yeah. So you like the kind of night and day cycle of the game?
I I do. I was very glad that the battles are only at night, to be honest,
Hmm.
because for a brief moment I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't happen all the time that somebody just attacks you, because it can be very stressful. But I like it, the idea of having something to do during the day and then during the night there's something else you can focus on.
Yeah, I feel the same way because yeah, during the day well, you can also do it at night, I suppose. But
Yes.
there are other parts of the city that are designated as wild zones where wild Pokemon appear, and you can go into these wild zones and catch the Pokemon. And the kind of catching mechanic is the same as Arceus, where you can sneak up on them and either send a Pokemon out to attack them or just throw a Pokeball at them and hope that you catch them straight away. And like you get bonuses if the Pokemon has its back to you when the Pokeball hits, or if you're in grass, that like helps your catch rate go up. So yeah, I also liked the kind of story and the side quests and catching Pokemon. I sort of left to the day and was like, all right, well, I'm at the point in the story now where I need to go off and fight one of these challenges or these promotion matches which you fight to get up the ranks. But then was like, well, I have time to kill until it's nighttime, so I'm gonna go and catch some Pokemon or go and do some side quests, and then kind of level myself up to make sure that I'm ready for the night.
Yeah. I did those night battles so much that I never had to grind for a ticket because I just always had it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My brother he got the game as well, and like he put a lot of time in quite early on, so he was quite far ahead of me for a long time, and he was like the biggest sort of tip you can have if people haven't played it yet or are just starting to play it is that like yeah just keep fighting all night long until the sun rises, because even if you have the ticket you it's still like the best way to grind XP. But I actually quite enjoyed doing the fights anyway because I like that they have these sort of bonus tickets that you can find where it'll give you a challenge that says like okay, sneak up on 3 opponents and start a fight, and if you sneak up on the opponents it will give you more points towards gaining this challenger ticket that you need for a promotion match, or it'll give you more medals, which then turns into money at the end of the night. And the more challenges that the more battles that you do, you get like a multiplier that multiplies the amount of medals you have, so the more money you have. So it was kind of fun to like go around and pick up the bonuses and be like, okay, well, I just picked up one that says knock out opponents with fairy moves and know that, okay, I don't really have any fairy moves in my party. So I'm just going to keep walking around and trying to find the ones where they kind of synergize with each other, where it might be like, okay, sneak up on an opponent, and another challenge might be knock out an opponent's Pokemon before the battle starts. And you're like, okay, those work together because if I sneak up on them, I can use a super effective move against them, which might knock out their Pokemon, and you kind of get 2 challenges for one, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah, I really like this too that they added this, especially because it also made me switch Pokemons because
Hmm.
Pokemon because I have this bad habit of using my starter a lot, like a lot of new players do, but I just kept it around somehow. As to have this challenge, like now use fire, now use dragon, I just switched my team much more,
Hmm.
which was a good incentive.
Yeah, also the moves, right? Like I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't switched around moves this often in a Pokemon game. Like usually I choose the Pokemon the team I want, and I usually know what moves I want them to have by the time they reach level 50 or 60. But in the game, like you are, or at least I was switching around moves quite often, which was really cool, which you can just do on the fly as
Yeah.
well.
That's true. That's a very good thing about the new battle mechanic as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So then let's talk a little bit. I know we said we start with the story, but let's talk about the battle mechanics since it segues nicely into it. So it's quite a big change. In my review, I said this is like the biggest change to Pokemon since going from 2D to 3D. Would you
Yeah.
agree to that?
Yeah, it's definitely feels quite different than the traditional games do because but to be fair, I actually like the change to take away my opinion on it because it's very fast and fluid and
Hmm.
again you just switch through the moves, don't always do the same thing and battles are over in like seconds
Yeah.
sometimes. So you just don't stick around forever in battles that are stalled by their opponent using rest like 500 times
Hmm.
in a row and stuff like this. So it's a very nice change of pacing, I would say, which is probably a reason because I was very over leveled pretty fast in this game
Hmm.
because I did a lot of battles because they were so fast and fun, and that's probably a reason of it because it just didn't take that much time to battle, so the grinding didn't feel like such a chore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I really like the new system. Like, so just to explain it for people that don't know what it is, it's so previously in Pokemon you always had like the turn-based battles where you would choose like, fight, bag, Pokemon, or run. And then in your fight, you would have four moves, and you would just do a move, and each move had a PP amount where it said, okay, you can use this move 10 times, and then you basically run out. In this game, it's all real time now. So like you throw both of trainers throw Pokemon out, and then you have your four moves on your face buttons. So like what is it, like A, B, X, and Y, and you can assign which moves go there. And instead of it being PP, moves refresh over time. So some moves might be really fast, like if you use Leah, it might only take 2 seconds to re kind of fresh, kind of like in a MOBA, it has like a cooldown. But then the more powerful moves take a longer, so you can't use them as often. But when you can use them, you do a lot of damage, and I think it adds like a lot of like strategy and tactics to Pokemon, because I feel like in Pokemon previously, I would literally in battles I would just switch off and just spam A, because I'm like, all right, my strongest move is always the one in the top left hand corner of the fight screen. Just spam A, spam A, spam A, spam A, get through the battle. Whereas in this one, it's like you can't really spam hyper beam anymore, because I don't know. I mean, you could never really spam hyper beam, but just say X powerful move, because it takes like 12 seconds to cool down. So then you have to be like, okay, well, do I want to build my entire roster of moves with really powerful ones that all take like 10 to 15 seconds to refresh? Or do I want to make it more balanced? And I always made mine more balanced, where I'd be like, okay, I have two moves that take 10 to 12 seconds, and then two moves that take like 5 to 6 seconds. So I know that I can use the two weaker moves twice before my heavy move is refreshed again. And it just felt like I never switched off in a battle. I think because of what you said, like the battles are really fast, and also because I basically every Pokemon had like a pattern of buttons to press, where I was like, okay, first I have to press X, and then I can press Y, and then A, and then B, and then by the time I've done that, the X is ready again to fight. So it's really really different, and but I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. It also feels more real, quote unquote,
Hmm.
because it, it's Pokemon aren't like, oh, I used this move 5 times, now I can't do it anymore.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's
it
it's
feels more like in the action.
yeah, it feels more like I mean, if it's not like the anime, but it feels more how you would imagine a Pokemon battle to go. That like you were basically like casting a move or shouting a move out, your Pokemon does it, the other Pokemon reacts to that move. And what I also really liked was that you can kind of move around the battle arena. So there would be
Yeah.
moves like Fly or Dig, where if a Pokemon used Dig against me, I would just run around with my Pokemon, because your Pokemon is kind of like semi tethered to you, so it will just follow you as you move, and just move around, so that like the whenever the Pokemon came up to use Dig, it would miss and things like that. So it kind of feels also a bit more like engaging in that respect. Or I had it like a couple of times where you could see a Pokemon is sort of gearing up to use a powerful move like Hyper Beam or Hydro Pump or Flamethrower or whatever. So I would just bring the Pokemon back in, let that Pokemon use its move, and then throw out the next one. And you just have this kind of like cool feeling of like, oh, I just dodged the move there. Like I just completely like just like owned this player, because they were trying to use one of their super moves, and I brought my Pokemon back in, and then threw it back out when the move was over.
Yeah, I really like that too. The downside of this fast thing a bit is that sometimes it gets a bit hectic because I
Hmm.
didn't have the pattern down. So sometimes I used like a dragon move against a fairy Pokemon. I was like, no, I know that that doesn't do anything. I'm not an
Yeah,
idiot. I just misclicked.
yeah, same. Yeah, that happened all the time. And also, like, it does
Yeah,
show you like an X on moves that
yeah,
aren't like that don't do have any effect, but it still lets you press them. So I also had that like where I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have pressed that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like, no, now the NPC is gonna think I'm stupid.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. No,
yeah,
it's cool. It's like it's it. I feel like it's very. I think that this game in general is sort of like in Britain we have this saying like it's like Marmite. Like people either love it or they
yeah,
hate it. Like there seems to be no in between. And one of the aspects I think is the battle system. Like some people either really like it like we do, or some people really hate it because they just feel like it's I don't know, it's not Pokemon. But it's encouraging to see that Game Freak is at least like trying to experiment and innovate on this level, which like they haven't really done at all in the series. And like the series is nearly 30 years old now.
yeah. I do have to say, I think a reason why I adapted to this new battle system is so well is that I have been playing a lot of RPGs lately
Hmm.
that have a real-time battle system as well. So I was coming from that already into this, so it felt natural to me. If I came from just playing Pokemon, I might have taken a bit longer to adjust to it, but this way I was like, oh yeah, I know this.
Yeah,
So
but I think
that
that's good.
helped.
I think it's like maybe it's like to try to bring newer or younger players into the series, because I think there are like Pokemon is trying to like sort of fan out a little bit with the games it has. Like it has the Pokemon MOBA and it has now Pokemon Challengers, and those games I guess are more appealing to a younger audience that are used to playing like League of Legends or these kind of more faster, more competitive sort of games. So it's kind of like here is introducing those mechanics very like on a very sort of simple level into this game. Kind of yeah, it kind of it revitalized it for me. Like it feels completely different. Like in Arceus they also tried something new with like the strong and agile attacks, but that felt more like like a Pokemon gimmick where most of the time I forgot to
Yeah,
use it unless I was in a fight where someone used it against me. But
yeah, same.
this is completely new. This is like a completely new system, which is it's encouraging to see. And I sort of hope like I think it's been interesting the last 3 or 4 years with Pokemon that you have Scarlet, and then you can see in Scarlet and Pokemon Legends Arceus that they've kind of like cross pollinated, so like ideas have crossed, and something that happened in Scarlet now is happening in Arceus, like the rideable mounts and the sort of movement of the games of those games. And I'm really hoping that this kind of cross pollinates into Gen 10, and Gen 10 feels
Yeah,
like something new and refreshing, and not just another standard Pokemon game.
yeah. Fair, the mounts they already had in Alola already, but
Mm,
those games for me are the most forgettable Pokemon games, but they
yeah.
did have them there as well.
Yeah, I mean they had them in, didn't they have them in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as well? But I think to me it's
Yeah,
more
but differently. There
yeah,
you
okay.
just rode on them,
Yeah,
and in like Sun and Moon, they were basically the HM mules.
okay, okay. Yeah, I never played. I bought it recently, but I've never played Sun. So that's like one of the only games, along with White 2, that I've not played so far. Yeah. So yeah, another thing that I think has been very divisive on the game is the game's graphics. Like I was saying in the Discord earlier, I put out my review and a short about my review on YouTube, and like the comments were all mostly about the graphics and just how bad the game looks. And I understand that some sections do look bad, I would say, but I actually think this game looks pretty decent for a Pokemon game. Like it's one of the better looking, or if not the best looking one, I would say.
Of the 3D ones,
You have the
maybe.
3D, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, with the graphics, I have this. I let's call it rose tinted glasses. I am finally always very unaware of all the issues people have with games. Like with Scarlet and Violet, everyone was when I went on the internet to see what people are talking about, eventually they were like, no, it's so buggy. And I'm like, I genuinely did not notice that. So either I got the world's only working copy, or I just genuinely did not care, which is the most like more likely outcome. Same with graphics, where I have to say it's probably because I really like the 2D era. So for me, it's like it can't get that good anyway. So as long as it's not Minecraft level of blocky, I can live with it.
Yeah.
So, which
Yeah.
is funny because you would think I'm a like artist
I
and
was gonna
everything. I would
say,
care
yeah,
about
yeah.
this much more, but in this case, rose-colored glasses. I think they're pretty. The city looks really nice, and I'm very happy about the outfits being back. I was very into that in X and Y.
Yeah, for me, I think I was always on that side of like, oh, Pokemon, like, you know, they have so much money and their game should look like a AAA game, like a sort of similar to what other AAA games look like. But now I've just become a bit more of like a realist, and like this is just Pokemon is just Pokemon, and it's never going to look like God of War or even like Breath of the Wild. So I think I try to judge every Pokemon game's graphics on the game itself and compare it to other Pokemon games rather than comparing it to like, I don't know, like Black Myth Wukong and being like, oh yeah, well of course the graphics look terrible. Like look at Black Myth Wukong. But yeah, I think for a Pokemon game, like I really like the new character stylization. Like I think the characters are the best looking characters like we've seen so far. Their animations are great. Like they actually animate now, whereas I always felt like Pokemon characters before just looked like puppets. Like they just had no reaction really to anything that was happening around them. Their eyes were just massive, sort of like saucers that were unblinking, and their mouths didn't really move. Whereas this actually feels like they are animated, like rigged faces that react to things that are going on around them. I really like the new Pokemon sprites and models. Like I think that they look really really good. Like there was a couple of games where, like in Scarlet, they look good and Arceus, but there was another one recently where I don't think they've been reusing the sprites. I think from the 3DS games. I think maybe it was like Pokemon Let's Go and Brilliant Diamond and Brilliant Pearl, and the Pokemon there also had kind of had like this dead look to them where it was just like, yeah, they just don't really do much. But in this game, like
Yeah.
Pokemon feel like characters, like they feel like they have like little personalities, like they have a lot of unique animations that I was amazed to see. And also for some of the side quests, like there are side quests that revolve around specific Pokemon that then have specific animations that are only in that side quest, which is something that I never ever ever thought I would see in a Pokemon game. So yeah, I think there is like a lot of presentation and polish here for a Pokemon game, which is good to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, obviously my favorite example for graphics upgrade is Charizard, which is my favorite because in the early stages of 3D it looked a bit too soft, and then I think Scarlet Violet, or maybe it was before, where they remodeled it a bit, so it now has it's like very like his eyebrows. It doesn't really have eyebrows, but like the face structure of it looks much more like in the anime, I think,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
very very good because it looked weird. It has this like washed out yellow orange in X and Y, and its face was too soft, and they changed it. I was like, yes, thank you for updating my baby. It looks much better now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, the models are definitely much better. And also on a side note, I really like that you can have your Pokemon with you again, because getting to run around with my Charizard is just the best thing ever.
Yeah, that's something like is it's weird that like the games there are games that can and can't do it, but like the feel of it, like because I always think back to Gold and Silver and then Heart Gold and Heart Silver, like those were the first ones where you could, I guess Pikachu in Yellow, I guess, but those were the
Yeah.
first ones I remember being like, oh my god, the Pokemon can come out of the Pokeball. And yeah, you're right. Like it does feel nice, and I was also kind of surprised how well the AI worked with that in this game, because I was like, all right, you're in a city. There are buildings. There are like trees. There are people stood around. I was like, there's gonna be so many points where this Pokemon is just stuck on a wall or just vanishes through the bottom of the earth, or there's just some weird visual glitch. But like I never experienced anything like that. Like it always ran really well, and it was never an issue when the Pokemon followed me.
Yeah. I mean, the only glitch I noticed, it's probably not a glitch, it's more a hitbox sometimes when the elevation level between your Pokemon and
Mm.
the enemy's Pokemon, for example, or opponent, enemy is a bit harsh. The opponent's Pokemon, for example, are different, that the attack would miss because it's stuck on a ledge.
Yeah,
Or also
yeah, yeah.
once I had this where I was trying to melt like an icicle in a, not really a cave, but like a closed space, and my
Hmm.
Charizard just kept missing by
Hmm.
firing fire above it. I was like, that should not happen.
Yeah,
Just
okay, yeah,
tilt your head down and you get it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think I only had like one memorable glitch, and that was, I think I was in a cutscene and came out of the cutscene, and basically before the cutscene, I'd broken a load of mega crystals, and then after the cutscene, it had respawned them, and I was stood on one where it respawned. So basically, I was just stuck in this mega crystal, and
No.
then but I just had to get a Pokemon to break it, and then it worked, and that was the only issue I had. Like the game, like I was one of those people with Scarlet where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they released this game looking how it did. Like it's still the sort of feeling of disgust I had when I saw the cutscene of the kids in the classroom like kicking their feet, and it was running at about 5 frames per second, and I was just like, why like if it looks this bad, why release it like this? Like so bad. So I was really worried about this game and being like and the first videos we saw when they first announced it for the original Switch, I was like, oh, this doesn't look great. But it it ran really like flawlessly for me. Like it was smooth, like I said, not many glitches, and yeah, like other than I do get the criticism about the sort of texture copying and pasting of the buildings, that more or less all of the buildings look more or less the same. But to be honest, I didn't really, it didn't really bother me because
Yeah.
I mean I live in a city now, right, and in a real city. And I remember playing Pokemon Go and being like, oh yeah, Pokemon Go, and you would see the Pokestops, and on the Pokestops there would always be a picture, and I'd be like, like looking at this picture, like where is that? Like there's this picture of like a
Yeah.
mural or something, and I'm like, there's no mural here. Like I walk down the street every single day, and then I'm looking around and I look up and there's this massive golden mural on this building. I'm like, oh my god, that's gorgeous. I'm like, I've lived here like 7 years. Why have I never ever? I've never ever looked up, because if I'm walking around the streets, I'm just eye level or looking at my phone or listening to a podcast. I'm not really paying attention to the architecture of the streets, and that's kind of how it felt like with this game. It was either I was like, okay, I'm going to the wild zone and I can see it off in the distance, and there are some like cafes and Pokemon centers that kind of stand out and look like unique spots along the street, which feels nice. Or I was fast traveling a lot in the game, because the game really just sort of incentivizes you to fast travel because there are so many fast travel spots.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the same, and also again it didn't bother me as well. It look rose-colored glasses. I
Hmm.
did not really notice that it all looks the same, which also is a kind of weird thing to notice, maybe because I didn't really spend my time looking at the buildings that much.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just parkoured around them basically to see what's up there, but what's literally up there. But yeah, that's it. And also with the city we live in, it looks like this. There's a lot of old buildings that just look the same.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, if you go to Paris, it also there's a lot of very pretty old buildings, but they all kind of have the same style
Yeah.
and are like built next to each other, so
Yeah,
they
I think
look
what the
very similar.
criticism was is that like most of the buildings are just blocks, like cubes or rectangles that have just been, they've just had the texture just put onto them. Like the texture will have columns on it, but the columns aren't 3D. They're just 2D textures on the building, which I get. Like, but yeah, but like you say, I think like the repetitiveness didn't really bother me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I just like I was running around having a certain goal in mind, so I didn't
Hmm.
really stop to look at the facade of a house that much, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah. Same. But I did, because you've also recently been to Paris, right? Like, I
Yeah.
did like how Parisian the city feels, like, because obviously it's based on Paris. Like,
Yeah.
obviously you have the Prism Tower in the middle that's meant to be the Eiffel Tower, but there was the go on.
Sorry. Fun fact, it took me forever to realize that X and Y's set in Paris. I don't know what was wrong with me
No,
when I was
really.
playing X and Y. I was like, oh, that's a nice tower. Oh, that's a nice castle right outside the city. Oh, it's nice that everything is in French. And then one day I
Yeah,
was playing like, oh my god, it's France.
yeah. Yeah. No, and I think they do a good job. Like the is it the Place de la Concorde in Paris where they have
Yeah.
the huge obelisk and that's in the game, and then they have like the canals and like I said, like the cafe houses are really cool. Like little markets. Like it does feel like a French-ish kind of city. Like there is a lot of character to the city, even if bits of it looks the same.
Yeah, that's true. It has like this regal charm kinda that
Mm,
cities like Paris have because that's what they used to be, very royal cities.
yeah.
And you feel it when you're there. And I think that the game brings that across as well with those gorgeous old buildings and everything. So I think it captured the feeling quite well. I honestly also like that it's like limited to the city. It feels a bit different
Yeah, I do too.
than
Like,
usually.
I was unsure of it at the start because Arceus did feel very open with its kind of open zones. But I also liked it being in the city. Like, it felt very contained, like very kind of trim. Like, there wasn't really much sort of fat that you were kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this right now. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm in the city. I know exactly where I need to go. I need to go to this, like, because you could fast travel, I need to go to this district and walk 20 seconds and I'm at the place where I need to be. Like, it felt quite nice to me.
Yeah, and especially the fact that you can go on the roofs as well.
Hmm.
It's like a whole other map up there.
Yeah,
So there's still a lot of stuff I haven't seen in that game, I'm pretty sure,
yeah,
because I still need to explore the roofs much more.
yeah, same. That's kind of what I'm doing now is like trying to fill out the Pokedex. So
Yeah.
I'm going up to these roofs and finding these gardens on the roofs where I'm like, oh, this is where this Pokemon specifically uh, spawns, which is kind of cool. Like a little surprise whenever you get up there.
Yeah, that's a very fun part about this. It just also feels really cool to parkour around everything. It's like I did not expect that you can do this in Pokemon, though I'm still missing like the jump button. One
Yeah,
of these days they have to give that to us.
yeah. I like the parkour. I do. I would have preferred the that it was done via Pokemon. Like I like the sort of what's it called? Like the glide from the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was another criticism I got. Someone gave on TikTok. It was like, oh, how could you put parkour in a game but not a jump button? And I was like, yeah, I mean, people that play the Elden Ring game, not the Elden Ring, the From Software games, there's kind of platforming in that game, and there isn't really a jump button there, and no one complains. So I think maybe it's just the toxicity of some Pokemon fans that just are like, eh.
I mean, to be fair, the target audience for From Software is probably a bit different. Those people like to suffer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, cool, good then. Then as we end up in this sort of spoiler-free section, where do you have this game in your like kind of ranking of the more of the like the mainline games? Like, I know this isn't technically a mainline game, but I think Nintendo, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company treat it like a mainline game. So where would you kind of have it ranked as if we go from like S to D?
Maybe B up to A. Like I didn't really have a lot of criticism with the game. I really liked what they did with the story, for example. It felt pretty cool. The whole feeling as a protagonist and how they incorporated other characters, while some of them also my main criticisms I'm here. So it was very fun. Like I had a great time playing this game and playing through it and was excited because I didn't get to play every day because it's work and all this boring stuff. So I
Life.
was yeah, life. Who needs that? I just want to play Pokemon game. No, but it was like I was looking forward to it each time and I really had a great time. So it's definitely higher up. From the Switch games, it's definitely one of the better ones. I might even rank it above Arceus just because I yeah, it's hard. They're very different despite both being Legends game. I think feel so. It's not as good as Scarlet Violet, or I don't like it as much as Scarlet and Violet because I really like those games. But from the Switch games, it's probably my second favorite, and overall, hard to say, but definitely like let's give it an A rank for me. I think it was pretty good game.
Yeah, that's where I have it too. Like for me, my My S rank Pokemon games are the ones that like stick with me, like are the ones that I really remember because there are a lot of like for example X and Y. Like I remember playing it, like I was in Australia when I played it, but it never like the story and the characters never really stuck with me. So for now, I would put it as like A. Like I think it's better than Arceus. Like I preferred it to Arceus. Like I enjoyed Arceus. Like I think it was at like if you compare Arceus and Scarlet, like it's a better game than Scarlet, but I personally prefer Scarlet. And I think between Scarlet and this, I still would say I prefer Scarlet. Like I would probably have to replay it again, especially now on the Switch 2, where all of these or most of the issues I had with the game are fixed. To really be like, all right, which one is better? But yeah, I think it's like you said for the Switch games, it's definitely up there, like in the top three. And for me overall, like I think it could be an S rank game. Like I really thought I was once the story was over, I was like, yeah, I'm moving on to the next thing. But I find myself going back and playing every day for half an hour, just because I'm like, yeah, I want to chip away at getting completing the Pokédex, and now I want to like progress to try and get the legendaries and stuff like that. So it's still got its hooks in me. Like I still enjoy playing it and turning it on. So I think it could be an S rank game for me
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, maybe S rank for me is a bit hard because there's like where Soul Silver and Black and White and
Mm,
Mystery Dungeon sit, so
yeah.
it just would be unfair to try to reach this high. But
Mm,
it's very good Pokemon game. Again, like I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say about it, and even the things I have to say about it are either very niche to myself or minor things where I'm like, why did you do that? But it doesn't break the game.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Then, since we're talking about ranking Pokemon games, I will plug my Patreon again because there is a video on Patreon for Patreon members of my tier list of Pokemon games up until Arceus. So if you are interested to see where I am ranking my Pokemon games from, I think, S to E, and then also some that I didn't play, um, go over to patreon.com/beat your backlog. And as we progress on this podcast going forward, this will be our spoiler part of the podcast. So if you haven't played the game and plan to, or if you are currently playing the game and haven't finished the main story and the sort of post game, then yeah, thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. But for those of you who have or just want to find out what our sort of spoilery thoughts are, this is the part for you. And yeah, this is like the main reason why I wanted you on, Barbara, because like I said, I completely forgot about X and Y. I was like, I remember playing it, don't remember any other than that it was set in France, which is something you apparently missed. But other than that, I don't remember much of the story. And this game is an actual follow up to that story, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say it's like I think they say 5 years after the events of X and Y,
Yeah.
which is why there are some reoccurring characters that aged up and you can kind of see what happened to them or where they are now while it happened. And on the one hand, I think that's very cool because it's always fun to see, oh, you're at this familiar place and that happened to those people that you traveled with. Or not you did, like I as a player traveled with. My player character didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of for myself had kind of that he's maybe the brother of my protagonist from X and Y or
Mm-hmm.
something like this. But that's just my personal headcanon because they look kind of similar.
Yeah. I mean, it could be
So
because, like I said at the start, there's no real reason given why you were going to Lumio City.
yeah,
You just
it's just
arrived there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's
actually, sorry, go
yeah.
on.
I just wanted to say about like that, like because I haven't played Black and White 2 and I haven't played Sun or Ultra Moon, so I haven't really played a follow up or a sequel in the Pokemon series. But it was kind of cool to be like have this game really be like, okay, these are the characters, this is what has happened before, like very much like and also especially like the Team Flare people like actually coming to terms with what they did. Like where they're kind of
Oh
like,
yeah.
well, we just want to move on with our lives, but we have this stigma around us, which they're trying, they
Is yeah.
like they deserve this stigma around them. So you kind of feel bad for them, but kind of feel like, yeah, but you guys were assholes, so it's your own fault. Like, which is
Yeah,
not
you know I
something,
have my thoughts.
yeah, which is a weird feeling to get in a Pokemon game, at least for me.
Yeah, to be honest, I was unusually irritated by the Flare people just because for me they're the dumbest evil team ever.
Hmm.
I mean, we are in the spoiler thing now,
Yeah.
so you can just say that Lysander comes back
Hmm.
in this game. And the moment he shows up, I was like, oh hell no, not you again.
Yeah.
Because that's probably one of the things in the story that bugged me the most. I mean, obviously it's a kids game, so you can't really go into the heavy topics, but this man tried to remove a whole lot of people, everyone except Team Flare from this earth, to put it very very censored. And no, everybody acts like that's normal. Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, don't worry about it. This guy 5 years ago tried to remove everyone who isn't in his very evil corporation, but let's just let him walk around, and let's just pretend it never happened. With the like Professor Mabel, at least you have like something where she's like, oh yeah, I had to cut this deal to be able to be out, not in prison,
Hmm.
but now I have to work. Woe is me. And like, lady, you helped a man who tried to remove everyone.
Yeah.
You should be in jail.
It's interesting because even Az, or however you say his
Yeah,
name, like he
AC,
kind
I
of is
think.
like the good guy and like the like the old wise man, but still I was kind of like, I don't really like you either. Like reading about like what
Yeah,
he did, like all right, he tried to save his Floateta or however you say the Pokemon's name, but you're still like, yeah, but you like killed a lot of Pokemon to do that. So
yeah,
it's kind of, and then that also puts pressure on like the characters in the game, because you're like, well, why is Townie so invested on helping this guy when he also isn't really like now he's a nice guy, but you know he did some bad things in the past, and
yeah.
she is also another very unlikable character. I
Oh
felt
yeah,
like.
don't get me started on her. I hate her. She's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not as mad as I am with L because I Lysander because I really like at this like at the end of the game like, oh, let me ask you something. Please trust this guy. Like I'm not gonna trust someone
Mm.
who tried to delete everyone with the reasoning of as there are too many selfish people in this world, so let's delete everyone but my organization, who are the most selfish people ever because they remove everyone else for their own needs. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm sure that's gonna be a much better world. And the thing about him, with AC, he at least felt bad. Kinda. I mean, he did what Lysander wanted to do, and
Mm.
that's horrible. But at least I understand his motive more. I don't think what he did was good, but like I understand his despair more. And the thing with Lysander is, it's not that he made up his mind. He didn't come to his senses. He
No.
fully pushed the button. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and
And
he
like,
isn't really like,
no.
he doesn't really get the chance either to sort of be regretful about it, because it's like a typical, oh, he lost his memory kind of story, where yeah, he kind of appears as like the mouth of Zygrab or Zygrade or however you say the legendary Pokemon.
Tigard, I think.
Zygarde, yeah, it's kind of his mouth to like get across the story. But he isn't. Yeah, he's kind of like, oh, something bad happened. I feel it, but I don't know what it was. And you're like, yeah. I mean, I had to read it up, to be honest, and also you told me. But I was like, yeah, something really bad happened. Like you should be. There's not really like a redeeming arc here, or you're not really trying
Yeah,
to
no.
redeem yourself, because you
What you did is unredeemable, my
yeah,
guy.
yeah, and you
There's no coming back from that. Even for AC, who kinda got punished by having to live for 3,000 years with his regret, which
yeah,
is not nice,
no,
but deserved.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So yeah, it's I don't know. It feels, you said it's like a kids game, but it does feel like grown up, like in a sense of this,
yeah.
because it's not like cut and dry really, that these are good guys and these are bad guys. Even though like the game kind of portrays Team MZ as the good guys, and there isn't really a bad guy in the game, right? Like there isn't really like an evil organization
No,
that.
like everybody has their. I actually really like this about the Rust Syndicate. Like Corbo is my favorite character in the game
Hmm.
because it's just you go in there thinking like, oh my god, it's the mob, and then they're actually very nice people.
Yeah,
Though this arc made me hate Donnie so much. Like, do
yeah,
you have zero survival kits skills, my god? My, come on. And
yeah,
how do we get roped into this? I mean, I'm kind of happy because I really like Corbo, but come
yeah.
on.
Corbo's the best. I think he's the coolest character in the game. And
Yes.
yeah, but the thing with Tony is just um, like, yeah, just like stupidity. Like because what
Yeah.
happens in the game is she takes out a loan for this with this shitty character called Corbo, who then charges her like a load of interest, and then you end up having to like earn off the interest to save her loan. And as you're like doing the jobs for her to get the loan removed, she's off just doing like completely just random stuff, like disappearing when you're like, oh, I thought we were paying off this loan, like your debt, and you just are like, oh, I've got to go find someone, bye.
Yeah, and
And
she's
it,
not even sorry.
yeah,
She's like, oh, whoopsie daisy. I
yeah,
guess that happened. And like, come on, that was a moment where like, if you're gonna give me dialogue options, at least have let them have consequences, because I really would have liked to not be nice to her.
yeah,
In this moment, I would have liked to be like, no, you messed up. I don't think that's cool. Now do something about it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you can't at this point. That's also some weird with Pokemon. Like, just don't give me dialogue or voice choices at all at this point. It was funny because I tried to say no when Corbo was like, we have to do this for Tony. I just straight up said like no. And, but then like the leader, or how is he called, forced me to do it. I was like, I know this
yeah,
was gonna happen, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
still hoped.
yeah. Yeah, so it is like because I think the theme of the story is mostly just like it's about a group of people that really like the city that they live in, and mostly just want to, in each of their own sort of way, want the best for the city, and not necessarily any of them really have the best ideas for it. Like Corbo basically runs like an underground mafia. The mayor, they are obviously doing something like dodgy and trying to cover up what's happening at Prism Tower. Like yeah, like your group is trying to rebrand this hotel for some reason, for this, yeah, for AZ, who is this 3,000-year-old like maniac. Like it's kind of it's interesting. Like it really makes me want to go back and play X and Y, because yeah, I like I said, I don't really remember much of it.
Yeah, the story in X and Y is, I probably interpreted more into it, but I'm like, if you're gonna go in this direction, you shouldn't just brush it off. Because at the end, there's also like the professor, like, oh, I wish I only talked to him more. Maybe I could have seen this coming. Like, you should not have to see this coming. Let's be real. That's like highest level of what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but yeah,
It's
like it's cool though, because like I'm briefly now into the post game, and when I finished the story, I was like really like, oh, I would love like a sequel to this. Like I would love to see like what happens next when how they rebuild the city after it gets kind of destroyed, and yeah, what happens with all of these characters. Like and I guess where I'm up to now, I just caught the two legendaries, so I kind of know, you know, like that we're in the spoilers. So AZ dies, and Mabel, you have to help Mabel out to capture one of the characters, and then the corporation to capture the other legendary. Like what do you think of like the end game? Because like I said, I'm usually not an end game person. Like I'm like, yeah, whatever. I beat the Elite Four. I'm done. But it's kind of nice to get like a little bit of an epilogue on the story too. And
Yeah, that's, I really like that too. With the two legendaries, I also really like that they reused their battle theme from X and Y, because that's like a banger. I actually bought that on iTunes back in the day because
yeah,
I liked it so much, like the for Cernias and Yveltal. So that was really, I was really happy when I heard that one. I have to say that they were easy to catch. I was fully
yeah,
prepared to spend like 2 hours in that fight, but
yeah. I think
that
it took
luckily
me
wasn't the
two
case.
two Ultra Balls. Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah, but I like it as well that you can still have this goal of climbing all the way to fight Tony, I guess, again, which rubs me a bit the wrong way, because I'm like, you've been useless the whole time. Don't pretend you're on the same level as I am
Yeah,
and steal my moment in the finale.
yeah,
I was so bad. I was like, of course you're gonna get your moment with Sygard, who actually saves the day, and that was very cool, that whole finale sequence.
yes,
But she just annoyed me to no end. She was like, oh, don't write me off yet. I'm like, lady, you did nothing but cause inconveniences.
yeah.
Don't pretend you're anywhere near where I am.
Yeah, she like I completely kind of forgot that. Like when they talk about the wishes, and she's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do with our wishes?" And I was like, "What? I would like my wish. I did this." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
rank A as well." Like somehow.
Oh yeah, yeah. That scene also angered me when you were like celebrating that you made it to A, and then she's just like looking at it like, guess what? So did I. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, I have words for you right now. It's like,
But what I do
I,
think is weird about the end game though is like you are doing this ranking up from C to A again.
yeah,
But like I've only done one fight, but the fight I was like, okay, so this guy is Zach again, this the guy who you fight at rank C in the main game, the taxi driver. I thought, oh, but he's gonna have like level 80 Pokemon
oh
now.
yeah.
But he doesn't. He has like level 9 and level 9 Slowpoke, and I'm like, really? Like, all right,
I mean,
so
spoiler for the spoiler, it doesn't stay like that. He's a joke.
okay,
I'm pretty
okay,
sure.
yeah, good. Because I was like, this is
Like the
weird. If I
difficulty curses.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. Yeah, because I was like, if I have to go through like 20 trainers and the 20 until the 20th one, they're like all rank 10 to 50. I'm like, well, this just doesn't seem worth it. But if that's the joke, then that's actually quite a funny joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the joke is that he's like the eternal set member, so
Yeah, yeah, he's
he
always
can't be good.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
that's good.
it that does get better. But about the CA, you know what? I knew that you obviously can choose yourself what you want, but that was pretty. That was one of my critiques. Like they forced you to do what they wanted you to do. I'm like, don't give me the options if you have your outcome anyways.
Yeah.
Because I clicked everything else before I clicked what they wanted me to click.
Hmm.
And to be honest, if I had my way, I would have said throw the center in jail and let him rot.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, I couldn't do that, and he got away. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not good.
I think that's it. I think that's kind of like the weakness of Pokemon's stories, though, is that like they give you these fake sort of choices to
Yeah.
make, and there isn't really a choice. It's just like it's just something for you to click on, and you get an extra line of dialogue that leads you back to making the choice that they want. Because I also thought that I was like, this is why say I'm going to give you a wish and then not really let you have a wish. It's just like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like it's just a weird decision.
I mean, you could have given me something like, I don't know, I want to have, you get, I mean, that's now very out there, but you get either a shiny charm, legendary, you don't get another way, or something
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
And the other things you can maybe get if you do ranked battles, but you get to choose one of those now as a reward for
yeah. That would have been
beating
cool.
this.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. But they didn't, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of expected that. I also forgot about the wish. I didn't expect that they would bring it up again because
Yeah.
what were they gonna do? And turns out something very uninspired.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was funny when
yeah,
I was writing my review because I wrote that down like, oh, you're trying to get to rank A to get a wish, and I was like, no, that's not this game. This is that's a different game. Like I'm sure that's a different game I played, and then I like looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, there is a wish because they basically say it at the start and then don't say it again until after you've beaten the main story.
yeah. But there are have been stories like I think Ready Player One also has something like this in there.
Yeah.
So it has been done before. But also with the Battle of Zygarde, where I completely forgot about it, and then at the end I was like, "Oh right, there was this." But when they gave it to me, I already knew what was gonna happen because they did that before,
Yeah,
like at least twice.
but it feels
So I'm like,
very
here we go.
very epic. Like it's like
It did. It doesn't get old, but they did do it twice
yeah,
before.
yeah. It seems to be like a thing with Nintendo and like more recent Nintendo games because I remember playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land and also getting to the like the game is a Kirby game and it's colourful and light and bouncy and fun. But then you get to the final boss and it's like, oh my god, this is like fighting like a Final Fantasy boss in its kind of presentation. And in that game, it's difficulty. In Pokemon, it's more like the presentation is just so like so much more epic
Yeah.
than I was expecting. Like, and it feels almost like a mix of Final Fantasy and like Dragon Ball Z or something like that.
Yeah, it really has this. It also feels a bit like in Dragon Quest 11. There's also secrets where everything is very dark and you have to get through that somehow with the help of people. Like it did feel like those kind of games, which was a refreshing change.
Yeah, yeah. It feels it just feels more like they put a bit more production into it and also into some of the other cutscenes, which was nice.
Give the cutscenes as one of my big nitpicks though is in those scripted scenes when you have to run away, they don't let you use the B button. Like if I ever had a moment to run,
Yeah, It's now.
This would be it. Why don't they let me do that? Just make the others faster as well,
Yeah.
or let me leave them behind if they're just slow. But it
Yeah.
felt very wrong.
Yeah, that's again. It's
That
like
that
it's a very Pokemon issue. I think of like it kind of feels like they take 2 steps forward, but then sort of one back. They do a lot of things right, but you're like, but why didn't you do this as well? Like
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like the not level scaling the arena, the gyms in Scarlet Violet. Like,
yeah,
why did you not do that?
yeah, exactly, yeah. Or like the big one in this game, I think is like, and again, this is like a thing where it's a criticism that comes up all the time, but I never really felt like it was a valid one until now. Is the voice acting or the lack of voice acting?
Oh,
Because I think, like I said at the start, to me, Pokemon characters always just feel like puppets where their mouth moves like a ventriloquist dummy, and I don't feel like I need like an emotive voice coming out of them. But now because the animations are better and like the cutscenes look good and look very cinematic, it does feel weird to have this character's mouth animating but no sound come out and just text. And it's like at the the very start of the game where you get jumped in the alley by the trainers in the ZA tournament, and then Flowtech comes and fires that beam. It's also like it looks a gorgeous cutscene, but there's no sound effect for the beam firing, and you're like, why? It's just strange, like that it's almost like someone muted the sound effects, and you're just like, why did they not do do that or add voice acting? Like it's
yeah,
like I feel like the games are getting nearly there to like where you think a AAA Nintendo game should be and where lots of other AAA Nintendo games are, but they're just below it.
yeah, that's true. That does feel weird. Like the weirdest was still in Sword and Shield when singing, and there was not even really other music. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just very strange.
yeah, yeah. And I
Also with
think
the beginning of. Sorry, go ahead.
I just think that's why the characters remind me of puppets sometimes because they
Yeah.
just open the mouse and nothing comes out.
Sun and Moon is probably the worst offender of this. It's actually kind of funny because you have the most wacky stuff happening, and the main character just always has a smile on their face.
Yeah,
They actually look kind of I don't want to say psychotic, but they kind of do because nothing phases them. They just smile, and you're like, "What have you seen that this doesn't phase you anymore?"
yeah, yeah. I felt like that
Like,
too. Like I felt Arceus did a better job of it. Like at least
yeah,
the animations weren't great, but they at least sort of reflected to what was going on in the story. But yeah, like
yeah,
Scarlet was pretty bad. I felt as well. Like that your character's just there and it's weird, like school uniform, just kind of like zoned out when stuff is happening around them. So, guys, sorry for the abrupt cut there. Me and Bab were in the middle of a conversation, and then my daughter started crying, so I had to go and put her back to sleep, more or less. So I'm going to end the episode there. Thank you so much, Barbara, for joining. If you're interested in following Barbara, she is on Blue Sky. If you look for Laimiba, so Laimiba, she does some amazing artwork that she posts there, and she's also in the Beat Your Backlog Discord community. So if you want to chat to her about Pokemon, you can do so in the Discord. And yeah, if you're watching, I on YouTube, you can see here I have my YouTube review running of Pokemon. It would be awesome if you would go over there and check it out. It's only 6 minutes long, just to get some support. I'm trying to do this new thing with video reviews now on the channel. So yeah, if you could go and do that, that would be awesome. And otherwise, yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching episode 78 of the Beat Your Backlog podcast. I'd love to know what you think of Pokemon Legends ZA. Is it one of your games of the year? Where does it rank in your Pokemon tier list? And does it need voice acting? If you're a Spotify, Patreon, or YouTube listener, you can let me know by commenting on the episode. And if you are listening elsewhere, just let me know on Blue Sky or search for Beat Your Backlog or join our Discord. The links are in the descriptions. Also, please, like I said, do check out the YouTube review and my written review over on Patreon. And if you enjoyed the episode, do consider supporting on Patreon. You can do so at the $2 or $5 tier. You get all of my content 24 hours early, and you get access to Beat Your Bonus Vault, which is a vault full of Patreon exclusive podcasts, one of which is my Pokemon tier list. So go and check that out. If you are in the mood to listen to more Pokemon content, check out episode 55 of the podcast about Legends Arceus, and also episode 38 of the podcast about Pokemon Scarlet. And finally, Beat Your Backlog needs your support. If you are listening to this as a podcast, please do make sure you leave us a review, a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon or wherever you're listening. If there is a review sort of function, please do review us because it helps new people find the content. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.